Hello, and welcome to Fantasy World Building with young adult author Carolyn Cohagan. That's me. This is my book, The Lost Children. It's a fantasy for kids 8 to 12. That might be you. This is my trilogy, Time Zero, Time Next, and Time's Up. It's dystopian and it's young adult. These are a whole lot of books I didn't write, but cool library, right? These are some of my favorite books from when I was growing up. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Fahrenheit 451. I have a lot of other favorites, but this is what fit on the page. That's me, signing books. This is me with some of my fans. This is where I write a lot of my stories. These are my dogs. They distract me a lot. This is a porcupine sticking out its tongue. I'm really excited about today's lesson, and it's because world building is one of my very favorite parts of writing. So you might be asking yourself, what exactly is world building? Well, it of course is a lot like setting, right? What is the setting of your story? But if you're like me and you write fantasy or you write dystopian or sci-fi, you might have to create a whole other world different than the one that we live in. And I think that this is a blast, right? So we're going to start off by maybe looking at some world building that you are aware of, but might not think about very often. Our first example is one you will know very well, Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. Her world building is incredible. We've got everything from candles hanging in the air, held by magic, stairways that move on their own, owls that deliver the mail, and Quidditch, a game she made up, and trolls and unicorns and Buckbeak. What is Buckbeak? Something that came out of her head. Let's now look at another classic film, The Wizard of Oz. The filmmakers let us know that Dorothy has gone from one land to another by changing into color. It makes it very clear that we're in a new world. But what other things can you spot that don't look like Kansas and are strange?
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. We must be over the rainbow.
Another thing to consider when you're writing a world is, how do people get around? What is their mode of transportation? Is it a broom? Is it a car? Well, I can say that this is certainly no way of transportation I have ever seen in Austin, Texas.
No, I know we're not in Kansas.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Who, me? I'm not a witch at all. I'm Dorothy Gale from Kansas.
Oh, well, is that the witch?
Oh, Toto? Toto's my dog.
Well, I'm a little muddled. The Munchkins call me because a new witch has just dropped a house on the Wicked Witch of the East. And there's the house, and here you are, and that's all that's left of the Wicked Witch of the East. And so what the Munchkins want to know is, are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Oh, but I've already told you, I'm not a witch at all. Witches are old and ugly. What was that?
The Munchkins. They're laughing because I am a witch. I'm Glinda, the Witch of the North.
You are? Oh, I beg your pardon, but I've never heard of a beautiful witch before.
Only bad witches are ugly. The Munchkins are happy because you have freed them from the Wicked Witch of the East.
Oh, but if you please, what are munchkins?
The little people who live in this land. It's Munchkin land, and you are their national heroine, my dear. It's all right. You may all come out and thank her.
I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is one of my favorite books. I read it dozens of times. Now, I'm showing you this not because I think that the film is superior to the book. The book is always superior to the film. But I did want you to watch Lucy Discovering Narnia for the first time. Pay attention to her reactions and consider what it is to write a character walking into a new world for the first time.
Were you hiding from me?
No. Well, I was just, I didn't want to scare you.
If you don't mind my asking, what are you?
Well, I'm a fawn. And what about you? You must be some kind of beardless dwarf?
I'm not a dwarf.
Well,
I'm a girl. And actually, I'm tallest in my class.
you mean to say that you're a daughter of Eve?
My mum's name is Helen.
Yes, but you are, in fact, human.
What I really love about this scene is that when Lucy first gets to Narnia, it actually doesn't look that unusual, right? It kind of looks like a very wintry forest that could be in a lot of places in our world. Even the lamppost isn't that strange. But then she meets Mr. Tumnus, who is a faun, right? So half man, half goat, I believe. And he calls her a daughter of Eve and is very, very surprised that she is human. So we have this quick understanding that there are no humans in his world, and we certainly know that there are no fauns in hers. So within a couple of minutes, and I believe in the book it's just within a page, we know that she is someplace very strange, and as they say in The Wizard of Oz, she is not in Kansas anymore. So the writer does a very good job in telling us very quickly she is someplace otherworldly. Now let's look at a really fun clip from a movie I'm sure you've seen, Monsters, Inc. I really want you guys to pay attention to the world that they create in Monsters, Inc. and what's normal and then what's special for the monsters, right? The cars, the size of some things, what people are wearing, and really make a note of how you can mix the real and the imaginary.
Ooh, okay, Sully, hop on in.
Nope.
Hey, where you going? What are you
There's a
doing?
screen shortage. We're walking.
Walking?
Yep.
No, my baby, look, she needs to be driven. My baby, I'll call you. Hey, genius, you want to know why I bought the car, huh?
Not really.
To drive it. You know, like on the street with the honk and the boom boom. I know walking involved.
Give it a rest, will you, Butterball? Come on, you could use the exercise.
I could use the exercise. Look at you. You have your own climate.
Hey, morning, kids. How you doing? Hey!
Oh, nuts. La 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 la. Hey, fella! Hey, Tony! Hey! I hear somebody's close to breaking the all-time scare record.
Just trying to make sure there's enough scream to go around.
Hey, other house! Hey, thanks!
Nazi.
Bada bing! Oh, great.
Now let's look at this terrific scene from Zootopia, when our main character arrives at Zootopia for the first time. Now you can see I've marked some of these things here, the difference between what's real from our world, right? Like the train, like a cityscape, even like the headphones she's wearing, and then what's imaginary, right? I really want you to pay attention in this. And again, think about how you can mix the two to make a really, really fun world that your readers can't wait to dive into.
Welcome to Zootopia.
Okay, we've watched all these great clips, all these incredible examples. Hopefully your brains are all like jumping with exciting ideas. So let's talk about actually being practical. How does one as a writer start to come up with one's own original world? Let's get started. What do we need to think of when we're creating our world? Where do we begin? I like to start with the residents, the inhabitants. Are they people like us? Or in Zootopia, they're all animals, or maybe they're aliens or dinosaurs. I don't know, but residence is always a really good place to start. In this new world, are they going to be different or are they going to be the same? Then the buildings and the homes. When your character arrives at this new place, when they look around, are the homes the same? Are the buildings the same? They totally can be. It might be that what's strange is inside the homes, or maybe every building looks different. The language, completely important. Is your character able to understand everyone from the moment they arrive, or do they have to learn a completely new language to be able to understand? Or maybe there are just small differences. That can be really fun too, to just make some really tiny little differences in language so that the reader is very aware that, we are now in a different place. The government, who's in charge? Do they have the same kind of organized government or rule that we do, that you're used to, or is it totally different? Is it a monarchy? Is there a queen and king? Or is there one big ruler that rules everything? Or is it a democracy like ours? Or maybe it's a whole different system that you're going to make up. Nature and surroundings. Are the trees the same? In The Lost Children, the trees are purple. The purple leaves, because I just thought that was fun. Is it a desert with sand and the sand is pink? I don't know. You can have all the fun you want because it's your world. The weather. So we saw that scene from Narnia, and one of the things that was so striking is that Lucy goes to the closet and suddenly it's totally snow, right? It's like a blizzard came through, and it's cold, and it's crunchy snow under her feet, and trees covered in snow. So it's not a completely bizarre world. It looks like our world. It's just that it looks like a very snowy day, and that was not what was happening in her world when she left. So what's the weather like? Clothing, so important. Do they dress the same? And as you know, frequently when we see people go from one world to the next, a very quick indicator that something is new and different is that the inhabitants are wearing odd clothing, right? Are they wearing onesies and jumpsuits like on Star Trek and Star Wars? We know they wear very different clothing. This is something that's fun to work with as a writer, to play with clothing. Lastly, food. What do they eat? Is it the same as us? Is it different? Is it weird? It's totally fun to play with food. At this point, I'm sure you're thinking, enough, Carolyn, we want to write already. Okay, so are you ready for your assignment? Because here it comes. You are going to write a story in which a character discovers a new world. Probably not surprising after everything we just watched, right? I want you to use the elements that we discussed earlier, or at least keep them in mind. I know it's going to be hard to use all of them. I want you to write for 20 minutes. You're going to set a timer, or your teacher's going to set a timer, and get as far as you can in that 20 minutes, and then you can just write to be continued, and you can finish writing the story another time, because it's really great to get your world set up, and then you can really think about plot and characters. And remember, I just simply want you to have one character going from one world to another. They can go from a normal world to a strange world, or they can go from one strange world to an even stranger world. Just have fun and enjoy yourselves, and good luck. And if you want to, you can always send me your story to Carolyn@kidswithpens.org. Thanks for watching.